Born in 1984 when the American toy company Hasbro collaborated with the Japanese toy company Takara, now Takara Tomy, the Transformers franchise has been going strong for a good 40 years. Most of your Legacy United toys this year are probably going to be marked with this really nice 40 symbol. So I figured, what better time than now to take a look back at the last time Hasbro did a big anniversary-style event for the Transformers. Hey everyone, it's Tiv here, and we're going to take a look at all of my thrilling 30 Transformer figures. Alright, so first on the chopping block, we have Goldfire here. He was a deluxe class, and looking at his car mode at first, the aesthetic is really good, but when you actually take a look at the car mode and try to play with it, you'll notice that he has a hard time rolling. And it might not be a universal problem with all gold bugs, but partially due to the plastic easily warping with time, and honestly mine was like this from the beginning, it's a bit hard to actually have him roll around. Oh, I just realized I've been calling him Goldbug this whole time. You see, 10 years ago, Hasbro actually didn't have the rights to use the name Goldbug, so instead this guy here is Goldfire. And I do really like the car design, but honestly, this toy is just disappointing in a lot of ways. Anyway, let's transform him. Goldfire's transformation is actually pretty simple and fun from car to robot mode. And robot mode, conceptually and design-wise, I want to really be able to enjoy, but in practice, he's just an extremely fibbly, wobbly mess, and the weapons he comes with are just really laughable, honestly. But I mean, I guess that... No, this wasn't even the best they could do at the time, as you'll see with a couple of the other deluxes on the list. List? What am I talking about? Anyway, moving on. Next on our chopping block, we have Roadbuster. And honestly, I do really love this guy. He's a really fun figure, and, he's just cool. He rolls really well, and with all the weapons and ports on him, you can practically siege him up years before siege was a thing. I mean, well, here's Cog. Let me show you. See, doesn't this look sort of cool? Anyway, let's get to transforming this guy. And in robot mode, Roadbuster honestly isn't the most posable dude, but like, he's got funky feet, but he is still way more posable than the old Throwback toy. And I just really dig the super armored up and gun heavy look he has. And you know, we still haven't really gotten a fitting replacement for him officially yet. Hell, it's even questionable if we've gotten that third-party wise yet. The last time I can think of that coming up would be Fans Project's Revolver Core guy. And I've heard mixed things about him. Now, speaking of mixed bags, we have the Thrilling 30 Rattrap. The rat mode does look pretty decent. It looks fairly accurate to the mainframe CGI model, and somewhat accurate to the old Beast Wars Kenner toy, and it is a decently solid look. If you really want, you can have him stand upright, but having him stand upright makes the kibble blatantly obvious. And also, if you want, you can open his mouth. You can sort of get him to ride certain vehicles if you really try. But overall, I feel like this aesthetic has just been replaced by the Kingdom one already. The Kingdom one just looks better, looks more like an actual rat, and it's more in scale with other Transformers. Anyway, let's transform him. In robot mode, Rattrap does look spot on to how he looked in the TV show. Though the paint has always been a little spotty around the eyes, and the exposed brain being used as light piping means it's not as detailed as it could be. The figure originally came with his rifle from the show, along with a detonation pack in his forearm. I don't have those accessories anymore, but they were nice to have. That said, even without the detonation pack, I feel like the Kingdom version just has way more articulation, even for its size in comparison, and way better paint details. So this is a Thrilling 30 toy that has been pretty thoroughly replaced. And then there's Rhinox. What can we even really say about Rhinox? He sure looks like a rhino. I'm not going to transform this guy because it's on camera, because it's a fiddly shelly mesh, and I don't like doing it. So instead, here's how he looks in robot mode. And honestly, appearance-wise, it's spot on to how he appeared in the show. Stability-wise, this guy could blow over in a gentle breeze. And the plastic isn't the most durable either. Back when I was 18 and I first got this guy, his thumb snapped just from me inserting his chain guns of doom into it. Well, not into the thumb, into the hand. You get what I mean, though. So, I really might be in the market to replace him with the Kingdom one, even if it doesn't look as accurate to the show. Brainstorm here is one of my favorite toys from Thrilling 30, actually. He's just a really solid jet. And he has a pilot because they included his headmaster gimmick, even though they really didn't have to, given they're using the More Than Meets the Eye IDW comics design. It's got some solid swoopability, and it looks really nice posed up on a stand, and it comes with a stand. Not all of the jets, well, as in there's a hole in it for stand. Not all of the jets that came out in this toy line actually came with those. And, well, yeah, here's a quick spin around for it. Now let's go ahead and move into the transformation. Now, Brainstorm's robot mode is not the most posable thing in the world. In fact, it's a little clunky because of how big the shoulder pauldrons are, and again, really weird feet. That was weirdly common for Thrilling 30, weird feet. But the aesthetic of him more than makes up for it. This is the only way you can get a Brainstorm that feels like he's the More Than Meets the Eye character. Take it on that Mastermind Creations, that'd be fantastic. And so, just from the aesthetic here alone, this guy's going to be in my collection for a long time. Again, unless Mastermind Creations does something about that. Maybe they did already, and I'm just dumb. Now, Skrapnel, Skrapnel, as the copyright-friendly name is a cute little beetle, honestly. And he's not very posable, but, like, what did you expect? Them to give his individual insect legs each posability of their own? I know there were some Beast Wars figures that did that, but they usually ended up collapsing under their own weight. There is a little bit of posability you get out of his beetle mode in the fact that you can move his pincers around, though. Anyway, let's transform him. Now, Skrapnel's colors are classic Insecticon, purple, black, and yellow. I just really love the way it looks. Now, in robot mode, Skrapnel is honestly a pretty cool looking dude. At his size, you wouldn't really expect any sort of waist swivels or too complicated things in the feet or arms or anything, but for the size he is and for just how fun and playable he is, he's really good. And honestly, I'm really curious on how much the Legacy version improved on this. I know they bumped it up a size class, but I mean, bumping up a size class doesn't always help a toy. If you know how the Legacy version does, yeah, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Skywarp I've talked about before. The only new comparison for him, though, is that recent Gamer Series Starscream, and I still don't really know about it because of the cockpit details. Some people are saying it's not as bad as it looks, but I don't know. I'm still not going to buy that thing myself. But jet mode for Skywarp here is really, really solid, very swoopable, and it is pretty fun to transform. And robot mode is also really, really solid. Albeit hollow inside, as I've joked before. Now, Thrilling 30's version of Armada Starscream is another really mixed bag for me personally. Aesthetically and articulation-wise, it's pretty good. Other than the complete lack of waist joint where they could have put one really easily. But at the time, I thought this thing was the greatest thing ever. But since I've gotten the Legacy Starscream, I can just see how much this guy is lacking in comparison now. Like, 10 years ago when this first came out, I was honestly really happy with it. I was just happy Armada was getting recognition at all. And I hadn't been exposed to the original Armada Starscream in like a solid 7 years at that point. So I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted from it. Now, Thrilling 30 Cosmos is just a joy. He's one of the most posable figures out of all of the ones I've talked about today. Now, Thrilling 30 Cosmos is just an adorable little UFO. He looks great posed up. You'll probably need like some sort of adapter to be able to get him on a stand or something. But he's a cute little flying pup. Anyway, transformation time. And now, Thrilling 30 Cosmos in robot mode. This thing is just a joy. He has a waist joint. He's got bicep swivels, knee swivels, though honestly they're almost thigh swivels. His head doesn't really go up and down, but it looks left and right pretty fine. And I just love the way this little guy looks. Overall, I feel like the Thrilling 30 toys have really ended up showing their age with time. And it shows that, the really collector-oriented lines weren't where Hasbro was pouring the money into at the time. And, that's perfectly fine. It was, despite being an anniversary line, it was sort of to test the market if people really wanted figures from all over the franchise's history. And turns out we did, and now we have Legacy, the earlier generations lines and all of that, and they keep on improving. It's been a good 40 years. Maybe, just maybe, we can look forward to 40 more.